Hello. Well, it happens to be 333 right now, which I've been seeing quite a bit. And I put my phone down to wait for something to pass. And I looked and it was still 333. And I was feeling a lightning strike. Interestingly, I had a dream about lightning, and in addition to that, I will go into the dream. I believe there's like a very prominent Uranus transit right now. Like, I honestly haven't looked it up. Maybe Uranus is in Gemini until I should look it up. I think it's a while, until like 2033 or something. Oh, yeah, let me check that. Honestly, I was not planning on speaking about this transit, but I have been picking up on lightning, which always connects me to Uranus or Uranus, however you want to pronounce it, which is ruled by Aquarius. And so I kept getting that, and then the transit I saw it pop up on some, like, other people were talking about it, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, so I was kind of already talking about it without knowing, which happens a lot. I used to, like, follow transits, but now I just feel into energetics, and it happens to come through in symbolic ways, and then something will pop up in my reality to show me what's going on. So that's just kind of the way it works now. And as well, this morning, where I am in Montenegro, there was like a little bit of we lost electricity for a little while, which was honestly a really good opportunity. I turned off my phone and my computer for like half of the day, and I feel like I really needed that. And actually, when I went into meditation, I fell asleep, and that's where the dream came through about lightning, which I will get into, like I mentioned. I just had a missed call from an 888 number, so you could be seeing 888. There may have been some, like, what I like to call quantum seeding, like seeds that have been planted or ideas, dream synchronicities throughout. It doesn't really matter how long, but it feels like some of those are starting to pop up in your reality. It can come through as, like, you know, Uranus is all about like that lightning strike of a moment, like a incoming fast change or idea. Now, of course, it's always up to us if we act on those ideas. Sometimes things happen, as we all know, that seem out of our control. So it's just depending where you're at with this. But yeah, so it could look like all of a sudden you never really thought about moving to a particular place, and then you just like wake up one day and you're like, I wonder what it would be like to live in Asia, you know, or something of that nature. It could also be coming through as like, I never wanted to be a parent, and then all of a sudden you find yourself like researching pregnancy. Or there could also be like something you've been almost preparing for that you haven't even realized you've been preparing for it. Some of you, it may be more conscious, like you've been preparing for something, but for some of you it may be like you just had this urge one day to start like doing mindset work and clearing out your physical body or decluttering your home, you know, and you didn't realize you were making space because you're going to meet someone and they move in. It's just like things like this. These are just examples, but there's been this like preparation and these like different seeds that have been planted or ideas. Like, who knows, maybe 5 years ago you watched a documentary about Portugal, and then like you didn't even realize that it affected you, and then 5 years later you're like, oh my god, I need to go to Portugal, and you're like, oh my god, I forgot 5 years ago I watched this documentary about Portugal, you know. So it's this kind of energy that's coming through. Like seemingly suddenly fast change. But I feel like if you look deeper, which some of you may already do, you may notice some changes, although that's not necessary at this moment. It feels like it will kind of happen naturally. Like you may find an old journal with something that you wrote down and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that I said this 5 years ago and now, blah, blah, blah. It's funny because when I went to push record, I wasn't even sure I was going to record today. I'm in a very internal hermity mode, but I didn't get into the dream yet. Okay. Okay, yes, Uranus has entered Gemini as of April 25, 2026, and it's a 7-year transit. 2023, oh, okay. Oh, that's what I thought. I just wanted to check myself. May 2023. It can focus on disrupting communication, technology, and intellectual pursuits. And that's really interesting because, like I said, this morning, all the electricity and my technology was offline. So that's pretty synchronistic. And it turns out, what's funny, actually, speaking of having realizations that you kind of forgot that happened, last night before I went to sleep, I could feel myself being a little bit too, I've been on my devices a lot. I mean, I take breaks from them and stuff every day, but I still feel like I've been on them a lot. And I just felt it. And before I went to sleep, I was like, listen, if there's, I set an intention, if I need to take a break, just make it happen. Cause I know I kind of feel it, but, I didn't really think too much about it. I just did that. And then I woke up and there was no internet and no electricity. So yeah, there could be things like this happening as well. And there's a transmission, playlist on YouTube that I've created, Blackout series, I think it is, or Blackout transmissions. There's probably only 2 or 3 videos, or audios. But it was reminding me of that. So I have to check the Schumann resonance because almost every time I have a blackout wherever I am or lose electricity, there's usually something going on in the Schumann resonance. I have not confirm that, or maybe sometimes it's preemptive, it might happen a day later or within that day or something. So we'll see about that. But either way, there's something about that surge and working with electricity. And I was talking to my friend yesterday who has epilepsy, and we were talking about different triggers for each person who has epilepsy. If you're not familiar, tends to have different experiences and different triggers and different types of seizures. When someone's not in something, if you don't have it yourself or you don't know someone with it, it's probably, or you're not a medical physician or something, unless you love to research or just happen to know things. It's understandable that not everyone knows everything about everything, but when something's so close to you, when someone my friend who has epilepsy, it's so much of her life, of course it's going to be a main topic of conversation. Anyway, I'm not sure why I'm bringing this up, but I was talking to her a lot through voice notes yesterday, and yeah, we were talking about she was bringing up how all the triggers can be so different, and even within the self and stuff. And I was saying how the electrical system in the body is so connected to the atmosphere, the earth, the moon, so many other factors that we always just, not we always, I don't like saying things like that or generalizing. The general population tends to just look at what are you eating, what are you drinking, which yes, these things are all important too, because that connects us to the outside world. But sometimes there's I have migraines sometimes when, I didn't know this, but then it started happening where if I had a migraine, sure enough, there's something going on with I feel very connected to the solar flares and the solar energy. Now, I've heard people over the years who have maybe seizures when there's an earthquake 5,000 miles away, and they started tracking it. So I'm not suggesting that every person who has epilepsy or electrical extremes or decreases in the body is necessarily related. This is just something I've been thinking about for a long time, and it came up. So just in case someone was thinking about that or having certain symptoms and starting to notice different patterns. And with this Uranus energy, I'm not sure why I always associate lightning to Uranus. It just started happening one day. I forgot about this. There was something that came in maybe around like 2020, 2021, silver lightning that I started working with. And interestingly, when I was connecting with the star system Arcturus and Antares, Stargate of Antares, it came in silver lightning. And silver also really connects me deeply to the she. So for some reason, those three are braiding in. And I worked with this silver lightning. My heart is literally like, I can feel this like movement in the heart. Especially if you're working with any sort of like, or not working with, but if you feel like you are working through, I should say, like anything parasitic, whether it's parasitic energetics, anything of that nature. There's something about working with this, only if you feel called, inviting in silver lightning. And I believe I do have like a Patreon and probably on YouTube. I'm sure I've definitely brought it through before. I can't remember a specific YouTube link or Patreon link. But maybe in the next Patreon, I will, Patreon Overflow, I'll work with the silver lightning and bring it through more deeply. But if you feel connected, like feel free to like, if you have a practice or if you're curious, just let me know. But yeah, I usually work with silver lightning as a way of just sort of like cutting through. Like if you feel like you need to like really cut through something, or like I'm being shown the mitochondria right now and working with solar frequencies, but there's something about working with the silver lightning that kind of like jumpstarts energetically. And not only that, it also, even though it's like quick, like silver lightning, you would think it's like cuts through, but there's also energetics that I bring in that also smooth it out. So it's not just like that electrical energy, you know, like balancing it. My throat is like clogging up all of a sudden. So, yeah, there's definitely some miasma that's being cleared through this transit for sure. And it's interesting, it's a 7-year transit. You know, they say our cells change every 7 years. I wanted to go into the dream now because speaking of lightning, and there's many ways to work with this, by the way, this frequency. Okay. So I woke up from this dream and there was, my nephew was in the dream at first. He loves to chat. So in the dream, that didn't change. He was chatting away and we were chatting. Was trying to do his laundry. There was something about a dryer. Like we couldn't find the dryer. Like things were like moving. I don't know. It was very weird. We were in like a weird bathroom. I haven't really decoded that yet. But I will say it feels a little bit, excuse me, everything can be practical and non-practical, right? I'm kind of being shown like this feels like practical. So I actually just got to a location. My God, excuse me. It is just like, let me pause for a moment. Try and work this out. Okay. Did my best. And there's no dryer here. And a lot of, you can say different type of content has been showing up on my algorithm, I guess it's called. I don't really know that type of lingo. And there's been a lot of videos about people like moving to different, like moving abroad or moving different places and talking about like the differences from their home place to these new places. So this dream almost felt like practical in that way. Like, like perhaps again, for example, if you're thinking of moving to a different country, but they don't use a lot of dryers there and you have to more like hang your clothes. And like I was seeing someone who moved from America to Greece and was talking about like the differences. Like if they want to use hot water, there's like a button they need to push to be able to have hot water, and you know, not throwing toilet paper in the toilet. Just like different things that we might think about every day that are just we don't think about every day. At least the general we, you know, some of us may be used to it from traveling, but anyway, so there's like something about practicalities or like things that maybe you thought you would never live without, that you're like willing to kind of sacrifice for a different type of life experience or a different quality of life. That won't be for everyone, but this is just an example. You know, it could be about like changing careers. Like maybe you're taking a pay cut, but you're doing something more fulfilling with greater potential in the long run. Or yeah, there's something about like practicalities and something like that in the dream. And there was a little bit of like, I guess you could say like, it wasn't even anxiety. It was more just like feeling a little bit lost. Like, whoa, I thought it was here. Now it's there. What do I do there? Wait, hold on. Trying to like manage a child and all of these changes. So yeah, like energetically it could just kind of feel like that right now for some of you, or maybe it will in the near future. Or some of you, it may be like a longer plan. Like maybe this is something you're coming up with, like the logistics so that you can like make the move in next year or something, you know, it'll be different for everyone. But it feels like this idea is coming in regardless of the execution, and some of the logistics are coming into play. Okay. Moving through the dream, after the logistics part came the very non-logistical part. And there was a lot going on, but I'm just going to like bring through the snapshot of the main part that keeps coming up. I don't even know where I was, to be honest. It felt like a very nature-y place with, it almost felt like a summer camp, but like families congregated to this like summer camp type of living. So it was like a community that was like based around like basically yearly long summer camp. And I'm just remembering like years ago, my sister and my brother-in-law and I would always like joke about these different things we would do when we were older and had a lot of money, like having a summer camp for adults, you know, like a giant summer camp that, I don't know, just, I forgot about that, but just these like things we would always come up with of what we would do in the future. Anyway, so basically that's like what this was. But all the kids, probably ages from like 8 to 12, were doing something I've never seen before, by the way. If anyone's ever seen this, please tell me, because I've never seen this. They were basically like on these giant, like these different size slides, and they would slide off almost like it was like a ramp. So like kind of like when people skateboard and do like a big ramp jump, but they were using their body. And then they would like essentially, I guess they were kind of like sliding and flying onto these like mini rock climbing walls. And then they had to like start climbing. I don't even know if I'm describing this well. And I remember just like watching it and I was like, what is this? Like, how are they not dying? Like, what is going on? And one of the kids, so there were a bunch of kids, like I said, and my sister was with me, and I was having like meetings or something with someone. And then like I got pulled out of a meeting. And I think like halfway through the meeting, I was like, no, like, this isn't what I want. Like, no, never mind. And then I went to leave and my sister was like, wait, like there's something going on with one of the kids. Like we should wait. And I was like, okay. And then she like identified the issue. That there was like a kid having an issue, but like no one else seemed to notice. But then like once she identified this, then like I got really invested and I was like, oh my God, like you're right. Not only like is he, so she was just thinking like, oh, he hurt himself or something. Like she wasn't going that deep with it. And then I was like, wait, no, he's like really going through it. And she's like, oh, here we go. So she kind of like leaves the dream scene, and then I step in. Like we both were kind of talking to this kid and pulled him aside. And basically it went really deep, and my sister was gone at this point because that's not her thing. And I was trying to explain to him, like, if he really doesn't like doing this, if it's really, really making him uncomfortable and really sad, you know, it's okay. And like, he's probably more likely to get hurt doing it if he's like really doesn't want to do it. And I was like, it's not about quitting, but like, you know, like, what, is there something deeper going on? And he was like this like 8-year-old boy, but he was like, yeah, oh my God, there's this huge queen bee that just literally flew in to come visit. This happened yesterday when I was recording too. The bees come and visit. Okay, so, but this is like a queen bee. I know there's like a lot here. I'm trying to speed it up, but fast forward. I'm talking to this little boy, and I keep getting an image from, this has been coming up a lot lately, the What was the movie I used to watch a lot when I was a kid? Oh my God. I can't remember the name of this moment. Darla Alfalfa. Yeah. Or I swear his name was Yeah. Whatever his name was. Little Rascals. Anyway, I keep thinking of the little kid Spanky. Was that his name? Spanky? I don't know. But he was like kind of looked like him in the dream, just for a visual. But a little bit slimmer. And fast forward, we got to talking, and the kid was trying to explain to me that he could like see people's destinies, but he didn't like know the exact words. And I said, yeah, I understand that. And so we started talking about it, and he was like, wow, I never like got to talk to anyone about this before. And then all of a sudden there was a crystal on the table, like out of nowhere, and lightning struck it. And he went over to the crystal and picked it up, and there were these marks on the crystal, and he looked at it, and it was like almost like a coppery color that the lightning strike created. And he was looking at the crystal and reading it, and he was like, yeah, like I can read this. And he was like, what is AdMech? And then I woke up. Oh no, that's a lie. I didn't wake up. And then I was Googling in the dream, trying to like find out some symbolism and stuff. So AD, those initials can be symbolic, and it was like MEC, like AdMech. It could mean a million different things. Of course. And in the dream, I kept thinking about advertising. So advertising could be significant for someone. But you know, the name Adam. I'm not going to go through all the possibilities, but if there's something in there for you, you can take it as like a confirmation for sure. Anyway, so that was interesting, like reading lightning struck crystalline structures. And also, what was that movie, Sweet Home Alabama, when how lightning, like the kids would like go and watch lightning strike glass and then form things out of it and then sell it. So yeah, there's something here definitely about like lightning, glass, and crystals and striking for someone, but also just symbolically when our own electrical system, you know, is like, think about it from our own crystalline DNA perspective and electrical system as well. And then how we're affected by things like atmospheric conditions and lightning. So this felt very layered and like very nuanced, and there's so much here to unpack, but I'm just bringing through like the lightning flash, if you will, of the streamed encoded information. And then over time it will unfold like usual. But yeah. So I just passed on 23, which for me 23 is like high self number. So 23 is like definitely some sort of high self integration. I was also being shown like the monadic integration, so that could be relevant for some of you. And then a song instantly popped in my head, and I had to sit with it for a second to let it come through. Lord, Team, that song. Oh wait, maybe it wasn't Team. Hold on, I'm still looking. Oh no, it is. In particular, the song "We Live in Cities You'll Never See on Screen," not very pretty, but we sure know how to run things. Living in ruins of a palace within my dreams, and you know we're on each other's teams. I don't know if that specific chorus is coming through so strongly for someone. Now I just heard a horn outside, and there's a plane. Like, it just got like super noisy outside out of nowhere. It was like very quiet except for like birds chirping and some bees buzzing. And just when I was talking about the lyrics of living in cities, yeah, so there's something, maybe some of you were like, my Akash Moon portal just came in. and hovered over a specific bird. There may be like a moment that you've had recently, or that maybe you'll be having more soon, of like a fly into the sunset moment, you know, like when you're just like in a moment of peace and you're like, whoa, like I feel like, you know, when people say like, oh, like in movies, like they just like flew into the sunset, or drove into the sunset, either one. It's kind of like that energy is all of a sudden what came in. So it's like all this like external noise, and then this like instant moment of peace amongst the noise, you know, like the calm in the storm type of thing. Again, this can mean many different things. I just paused again, and it paused on 25544. So numbers are really speaking right now. Balance, changes, stability, angelic realms, protection, things like this. Hear that really loud motorcycle in the background? Ooh. I wanted to check my notes, and okay, so bear with me here. Saint Peter, who I've never connected with in my life other than through the song from Coldplay. I know Saint Peter Won't Call My Name, that song. That song has been showing up in the weirdest ways. I've heard it like an abnormal amount of times in places I would never think I would hear it, like the airport, in a Bakken grocery store. Just like I keep hearing this song. And then I was like, but I kept specifically being highlighted the part about Saint Peter, but I just kind of like, I was like, all right, if this is meant to come up, let it happen again. And then St. Peter came up 2 more times. I can't even remember in which ways, honestly. I think I was watching something and someone mentioned St. Peter. And this was all like very recently. So anyway, I decided, okay, let me look into St. Peter. And it's apparently like St. Peter had to do something with like the gates of heaven. Interestingly, because I've been talking a lot about like Edenic timelines and, you know, that saying creating heaven on earth. There's an oracle card in the Rebecca Campbell deck I used to have, Work Your Light Oracle. Maybe some of you know that deck. And it's like, it's happening. Like heaven on earth, it's happening, something like that. So that energy's been coming through very strongly. And yeah, so there could be something significant about St. Peter. And I did look up more information about that, but it's not coming through at the moment. And there's also something about like trying to figure something out and then it coming through when your mind is clear. So I was talking a lot on Patreon yesterday about decluttering the the mental layers of the aura, and I really focused on that recently because I felt like I needed it. And then I kept trying to think of Amrita. The name just wouldn't come to me, and I could have easily looked it up, but I didn't want to. I was like, you know what? It's going to come to me in the perfect moment. And because I kept bringing it through energetically, like I could feel it, and it was coming through so many other ways, but that one word just wouldn't come in. And I was like, you know what? There's a reason for this, and I'm just going to trust that because I know the word very well, and it just like literally would not come through. So I turned off the technology. Like I said, I woke up today and I literally sat up and said, Amrita. And I was like, exactly. Like I just needed to clear my field. It was like, oh, so many synchronicities are coming in now that I didn't even realize. When I was chatting with my friend last night on voice notes, it was like 3 a.m. here. I've been joking that I'm a nocturnal animal since I've been in Montenegro. But it's true. I really have been. And so it was like 3 a.m. and I went outside on my balcony and there was like so much smog. Like I felt like I was in a fairy tale. And I didn't realize until like EMF smog. Like I think my field was a little bit smoggy, you know, because I was traveling and there's just like a lot, and I just have been really needing to like take my time here and just do a lot of clearing and just whatever else words you want to use, little R&R. And I guess I was feeling like not guilty, but just like, oh, like checking in, like, am I missing anything? But like, no, I just really needed this. So maybe someone here is also experiencing that. But anyway, I didn't realize about that smog. That was really like reflecting something. And so Amrita has been coming up. I'm not going to get too much into that if you know about Amrita, but that could be significant for someone. I'll probably go more into that on Patreon, actually. So when I was on Patreon yesterday recording, I was talking, I just got chills, in particular on my left lower leg, very specific. And I was feeling this like, some of you maybe like this morning, it was a very weird like purge. So some of you could be like going through it doesn't feel like, so a few weeks ago when I recorded, there were some really intense purges happening. This feels like almost like a ripple effect of that. Like I'm being shown like a seismograph that tracks earthquakes. And then after the main earthquake, there's those, what are they called? I can't remember the name right now. An aftershock. There could be like aftershock of like timelines can be different for each of us, right? So maybe some of you are going through like deeper purges right now, and then in a few weeks you might just have a little bit of aftershock. But for those of you who already feel like you've gone through that more deeper purge, you could be having these like little aftershocks of whatever it is. So also, if you're a female who still gets her moon cycle, you could be going through changes with that as well. Mine is definitely going through changes right now, and I was kind of getting that energetically for a lot of people before that even happened, and then mine started doing that, and I was like, yeah, I feel that's coming in for some of you. Okay. And if you're someone, if it's not about your moon cycle, regardless of gender, there could be like something else about the body that feels like it's going through a change. Like you could be going through like physical changes, your eyes. I've said this before, but it feels like it's even more like people may be noticing it. Like people may say something to you about like your eyes seem different, or something about your hair, maybe your skin. Maybe some of you are like your physical body, your vessels like shape-shifting into something. It could be something that you've always wanted to. Like maybe like a long time ago, you're like, I wish I had this. And like all of a sudden it's like happening. You're like, what is going on? Yeah. And if that's not happened to you yet, of course, this isn't something necessarily that feels like the goal, but it feels almost like a byproduct of a desire you had, that after clearing out some miasma, it's like that's your desire was there for a reason. Like it was there to like kind of guide you into a more like whole version of yourself, or like, your highest expression in some way. So it doesn't feel like it's completely out of left field, even though it might seem like that way. Okay. I know I was talking about something else and I interrupted myself. Sometimes that happens when there's so much coming through. Oh, there. I just checked my notes to remind me. Okay. Also, eggs could be significant. You could be seeing like egg symbolism. You could be craving eggs. Some of you could like be like not craving eggs at all. Like I was craving eggs like so much for a while, and then a few weeks ago, I don't know, I cracked an egg and I was just so turned off by it, and I was like, what's going on? And eggs where I am are like super affordable here, and they look like good quality, so I was so excited to be able to like eat eggs every day. And it's actually been like ridiculous. Like if anyone's could see me at like this market, I pick up eggs and then like I just can't bring myself to buy these eggs. I keep putting them back, and like I want to use them for my hair, and like I want to use the eggshells for my toothpaste. And I have all these plans for these eggs, but like I just can't bring myself to buy eggs. I don't know. It's this really weird thing I'm going through with eggs. So maybe there's something going on also with eggs with some of you, but that was just an example. Okay, so back to, I was talking about Patreon, and I was talking about some of the grids that have been coming through. And one of the names of the grids that I found on Ascension Glossary, that I had kind of stumbled across before. There's different grids that I find out names, whether I'm like dreaming about it or different people who have brought through grid work, chaotic science, etc., etc. Anyway, so one of them was called the Blue Cow Grid. And I was more focused on the Golden Eagle Grid, but the cow grid kept kind of like peeking its way in, and I kept misreading it as crow. And then Corvus came through, which is the crow constellation. So I was feeling like all these different things coming through, you know, like the celestial realms and then the grids, and just, you know. So I was kind of like, okay, if I'm really meant to be talking about this cow grid, like, you know, let me know or whatever. It was just like a little thing I set the intention right after I was done recording. So I talked about a dream that I had also where I was walking a brindled pig who wasn't formally finished forming yet. I think I talked about that on YouTube, my last transmission on YouTube. It might have been on Patreon, I can't remember. But anyway, and it was being walked on this like, I was walking it on this like rope leash, like a specific color rope leash type of thing. And I didn't realize how significant that would be. Anyway, so that was like, I don't know, a few days ago. So yesterday when I was recording, like I said, I finished. And then I've been taking sunset walks almost every day. So I was going to take my sunset walk. And I see this man crossing the street with the same type of leash from my dream, walking a cow across the street. And I was just like maybe people who live here, that's like totally normal. But like, that's not something I see very often. And it was just like literally like within, I don't know, an hour of talking about these cow grids. Anyway, so that was very synchronistic. So cows, of course, always connect me in through the Hathors, or Hathor has been coming through quite a bit, which can be represented often by a cow-headed goddess archetype. I didn't mean to say cow-headed, but that's what came through. Oh yeah, that's correct. I was getting an image, but I just wanted to make sure before I just said that. The archetype, the goddess of love, fertility, music, motherhood, the cow, right? Like eggs. I've been having a lot of pregnancy dreams, which I've been talking about recently. Spirit babies have been coming through. I cannot tell you how strongly spirit babies have been coming through. Well, I started to talk about it on Patreon. I think it was on Patreon. I could have mentioned it in YouTube yesterday as well. They're all kind of running together. But after I was recording, like all of that and about spirit babies, something popped up, like a reader who posted maybe 2 years ago, just like happened to come up on my feed, and she was talking about spirit babies. And I was like, of course. And I was trying to also bring through, like, especially with all this, like, Hathor and egg symbolism, that a spirit baby, for some people who are not, like, they know they're not going to be birthing a human baby, like, it could become, I just got, like, a pinch pulse on my spine towards the right in between the shoulder blades. It's very specific, but I just felt like someone pinched me, and it's 14:14 on the clock. So yeah, anyway, so for some of you it could be a literal spirit baby. I'm seeing like something about communication from like 2020, 2021, and then also like 8 years ago. Like there's like specific time markers. I feel like it's coming through. I was also watching something interesting about like fetal cells and how they can live in your body like for the rest of your life, regardless if you go full term or not, just if you ever become pregnant. That's like for just some people. So like you literally carry the baby's fetal cells potentially throughout your whole body, like forever. Which I've heard before, but I was watching this video about it and it just seemed like very interesting. And it can affect the body in different ways. So in both negative and positive ways, apparently. I don't know. That could just be for someone who was thinking about that. But Anyway, yeah, so this idea of spirit baby could also be coming through like in forms of creative projects, like I was mentioning before. It's just coming through again very strongly. Maybe for some of you, like animals, plants, like whatever, anything that you feel connected to that's like being conceived, you know, like ideas, whatever it is, feels like it's very strong in the energy right now, or whenever you find this. It is timeless. Even though I'm bringing up a specific transit, if you're finding it, whenever you find it, there could be something significant. Like if you're finding this 5 years in the future, let's say, you could look back at this time and maybe there was like something quantumly seated that you're realizing, you know, like you can use this however it sort of comes up for you. If you feel called, of course. I didn't even realize I had written down in my notes liveliness in the air. I was feeling this energy of just like liveliness the last few days. And then when I was just recording right now and talking about how everything outside just all of a sudden picked up, I didn't realize I'd already written that down. And it was right under, somehow I missed it, but it was right under the cow crossing and above the St. Peter note. So that feels significant for some reason. I've also been talking about Jupiter a lot. So yeah, some sort of Jupiterian energetics, transit, however you connect to Jupiter could be coming through. Oh, and the word vines. I've been seeing the word vines like repeatedly. Also the phrase like silver branches. Silver has been coming through, like I mentioned earlier. But something about vines, and yeah, it could be something about like the way the vines is the vine something? Because I meant to say the way vines, but is the vines a band? I can't remember, but the vines could be significant for someone. Maybe you're naming something that, I don't know, but yeah, something about the way vines grow, something about something beneath the surface. That's been coming through, that phrase, beneath the surface. Like what we don't see beneath the surface, you know? Something of that nature. Oh, something about, I feel like I'm playing with my hair a lot. Something about hair feels significant too. And if you think about hair, it's kind of like the vines of our body, right? Those of us who have hair, really hair, like anywhere on the body, we don't see like the root, you know, it like comes out of like a follicle, like underneath of the follicle. I don't know why I'm being shown this. Now I'm hearing the song from Shakira, Underneath Your Clothes, or Her Clothes. There's an endless story. Yeah, there's something about that underneath. What is the significance of hair? Some of you could be having changes in your hair. I was talking about that earlier, like changes in appearance. You could just be called to like focus. There's something about hair is also protection. Even if you don't have like hair on your head, there's just something significant about the symbolism of hair. I've been talking about honey a lot as well. There could be something around honey coming up. Ooh, okay. I just like felt the urge to look at the sky. I was about to end the recording. And I'm watching these two planes like cross each other and make an X in the sky, or like a railroad, like a crossroads, and the words crossroads and the in-between have been coming up so strongly. So yeah, excuse me. Also like pivotal, word pivotal, like a pivotal, pivotal shifts, pivotal moments, pivotal decisions. crossroads. And if you feel like this is not you, there could be someone that you're connected to that could be at this like pivotal crossroading threshold shift moment. So that like, I had a vision of the Two of Swords in tarot like a few weeks ago. And since then it's been coming up in interesting ways. So yeah, it's like a very Two of Swords. And again, it's like what's beneath the surface. Like there's something that's been getting someone's attention that I think is like coming up. All of a sudden I just got a little bit congested in my sinuses, and this has been happening a lot when I record, where my sinuses get congested and then it's fine after I'm finished recording. It's like clearing this collective, bringing up to the surface what has been hidden, whether through miasma, frozen light, that's just been coming up in the energy so strongly, like for a while now. And I just got the urge to like put my hand on my neck. And there's been also a lot about like temperature changes and temperature shifting. Like someone here could have been fascinated with monks at a certain point in their life. I remember when I was little, I was young. I don't know how old I was. I was under 12. And somehow I like learned about monks who could like change their body temperature according to their surroundings. And I never forgot that. And I think something happened when I was little. I'm trying to remember. I was like so fascinated, and I went to go outside and I literally rolled down my front. I did this a lot, so this is not a one-time thing. I fell down the steps all the time when I was a kid. I literally rolled down my front steps and like fell on my forehead. And I remember I was like thinking about these monks, and I just like completely lost my footing and smacked my head on the sidewalk. And I like looked around like, did anyone just see that? And then I just got up and walked away. It definitely hurt, but like at that point I was probably used to it because I like fell down the steps a lot, like I said. But yeah, there's something about that. And it doesn't have to be that thing in particular, or even monks, but just the idea of like, again, quantum seeding, like having dreams or memories about like different human abilities, that maybe are perceived or labeled as like myth or just like in movies. But there's something about like the character Storm, and I actually don't know X-Men very well, but the character Storm kept coming up really synchronistically for me. So I finally looked into Storm. Actually, I should do it again because it's been coming up again. But yeah, there could be like, you notice these are just different things coming through, like temperature, electricity, like affecting electricity, indigo lineages are coming through, atmospheric conditions, weather predicting, prophecy, all these different things. I feel like I could go on for hours listing off these different abilities, but I actually started making years ago like an entire divination list, like any type of divination that ever crossed my path, and I wanted to like release something about it, but then I was like, someone's definitely already done this, so I stopped. But I had such a fun time just like writing down every form of divination or ability that like ever came up, so that could be relevant for someone too. Yeah, I'm going to leave it here, but if anyone like has something they want to share about an ability they feel like they have, or multiple abilities, feel free, only if you feel safe doing that, of course. Or if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, thank you.